So for those of you that, you guys all know me, but for those that don't know me, I'm Dr. Jarabshi. I'm here to talk to you about an in-office option that we're really excited about for kids that have ear infections. So this uh-oh. Are you getting feedback?
Yeah.
Huh.
Wait.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We can start again. All right, so I'm Dr. Jarabshi, here to talk to you about in-office ear tubes, which is a great option for some of our children. There's 670,000 children each year that require ear tubes. And most all these kids go to the operating room. They have no option, and the operating room is a good option. It is fairly safe, but not everyone wants that, and also is a barrier to entry. Some parents are scared off the idea of putting their kid under anesthesia. So for those people, for people that have issues with cost, because operating room isn't always a cheap option, or access, depending on your market, some of these wait times are up to 3-4 months at children's hospitals. This is a great option. So without further ado, let's learn about what we're doing here. Okay. So TULA, again, it's basically putting tubes in the office under anesthesia. We're using local anesthesia. We're using an ear drop they're putting in the ear. It's basically having electrical current pulse through it, and it's creating this anesthetic effect on the eardrum to allow us to do this procedure on the children. So the benefits of TULA, one, you don't have to fast. You know, when you go to the operating room, you have to be fasted for 8 hours. And parents, believe it or not, they hate that. You know, they're built on this earth. They're raised on this earth to basically feed their kids. And if they can't feed their kids, that's always a problem. It's always an issue with them. There's a concern about general anesthesia, as I mentioned. Some parents are scared off on that idea. Talking to some of these pediatricians, I was surprised to hear that was like a main reason for them not getting the tube. Time off of school, and then the side effects of general anesthesia. Also, perioperative distress. I don't know if you guys have been in the operating room and seen what the process for getting tubes in these kids. It's almost like a kidnapping, where you're taking the kid from the parent, you're going with a stranger, you're holding them down, you're putting a face mask on them against their will. They're fighting, they're kicking, they're doing everything. It's not a pleasant experience, and it works, it gets a job done, but there's certainly a better way of doing it. So there's certainly, you know, perioperative stress before, during, and afterwards that this option can avoid. So like I said, with TULA, it's basically two components. You're using a specialized numbing process that basically is like an earplug that you put in the ear, and it has numbing medicine that it's basically pulsing an electrical current through, and that electrical current will then make it to the eardrum, anesthetizing the eardrum. The second part of it is this specialized delivery device, which can cut the eardrum and pop the tube in less than half a second. It's quite amazing. So this is the device right here. You guys can pass it around. So again, no general anesthesia, no fasting required. You don't have to separate the patient from the parent, and the kids are back to activities pretty quickly. You know, for me, I think the big benefit, at least in Florida, is the faster access component. You know, again, a lot of these children are having 3-4 month waits to some of the local children's hospitals. If I can get you in and get you a tube within a week, that's a big value proposition for parents, and that's a big asset to them, and also we're taking care of that faster. So that's a big reason why I want to be a part of this too, so I think it's a great option. Also a cost benefit. You know, one of the things that, you know, can't go unnoticed is there's a significant cost savings when you're avoiding the operating room and just doing it in the office setting. Some plans are actually a 5 times savings, actually. 5 times savings of what the cost is for an in-office deductible versus going into the operating room. And, you know, honestly, the recovery thing, it's not just being separated, but when we actually do this procedure, we're handing the kid right back to the parent. You're going right back to the parent's arms, which is a beautiful thing. The parent's in the room. So you're not separated from the parent. The parent appreciates that, and the child appreciates that. So it's just overall a better experience for the tube. It's also well accepted by our journals. So some of the big players in our space, the Laryngoscope and our main white journal, accept it, they've studied it, and there's comparable outcomes to kids that have in-office tubes versus operating room tubes. So the data is there to support it. This study was basically investigating two things. How successful are you in the office with tubes, and what's the pain scale like? So in the office, the procedural success averaged around 87%. Tolerability scores, after the procedure, the pain score is about 3.3. 5 minutes after the procedure, it's about 1.6. So it's on a scale of 0 to 10. And so we measure the pain based on a facial pain response. So again, after the tube was inserted, it averaged about a 3.3, which is about mild pain, versus a 1.69, which is no pain, 5 minutes post-insertion. This study was basically assessing how open are the tubes remaining. So we put the tubes in to ventilate the ear space. If the tube closes after the procedure, then it's basically a moot point. There's no point of putting the tube in. So at 3 weeks, there's about a 95% patency rate compared to 93% with traditional methods. And this is pretty compelling too. So the worst type of fluid in the ear is mucoid fluid. It's a boogery, thick fluid. 96% of these kids after 3 weeks did not have it completely resolved. So that's a pretty compelling statistic. Let's see. I have to like use my hip or my knee, my thigh to like perfectly click the arrow here. It's quite a dexterity exercise. All right, so, and as far as for parents, the parent scoring. So what is the likelihood that a parent would do this again for another child or sibling? 94%. So 94% of parents that have witnessed this, have gone through with one child, would offer it and want to do it with their other child. And 95% were overall satisfied, and 93% would recommend it to family and friends. So for a parent going through it, which isn't always a great experience for the parent. If you do a lot of in-office procedures in kids, it's usually the parent that's more stressed than the actual child. So for them to say that's quite impressive too. All right. Click. All right. So let's go through the overview of the procedure. So as I said, it's two parts. The specialized Timbion process, which again, it's using lidocaine 2% with epinephrine, and it's charging that liquid with an electrical current that in a way allows it to get more rapidly absorbed into the eardrum. It's a pretty simple process. It basically looks like this. A child wears an earpiece over the ear for about 10 minutes. After that, they're pretty much good to go. And that's the process. So the second step is the tube delivery. So again, this is the device. Again, pretty nifty. So you put the device into the eardrum, against the eardrum, you click it, and with that one click, it cuts the eardrum, it dilates the eardrum, and it pops the tube in all in half a second. So it's quite a slick and fast device. I'm definitely doing something wrong here. All right, so we actually have a video of the actual process. So again, as I said, the device will put the position against the eardrum, we'll cut it, we'll dilate it, we'll pop the tube in. So you'll see it in slow-mo, then you actually will see it in real time. So there's a cut, the dilate, and then the tube. And this is it in real speed. So this is an actual case of a 2-year-old getting the TULA devices. This is just a good idea of what a child will experience. So is it perfect? No. I mean, you're gonna, some children you'll put the TULA in and they won't budge. But at the end of the day, you're getting that job done. You're saving anesthesia. I'd say most kids, they'll have a little bit of a cry when you put the tube in. I think more from the noise, not necessarily the pain. And it's a little bit of a wince, a little bit of a moment. You get that tube in, they're back to mom's arms, and they're pretty much over it. So you'll see that here. I don't think we have a volume here. Let's see.
Oh, that was the bubble bath, sweetheart. Good job.
All right, so that's iontophoresis, and she's just taking out the earpiece now.
Okay, you're gonna hear a tap, tap, good girl. Tap, tap. Nothing.
puts the device in, and pop. That was it. So she had a little bit of winter reaction, but not too bad. And that's basically it. Same thing other side. The second side they usually anticipate, so it's a little bit worse. But for the most part, it's no worse than that. And that's it. Back in Dad's arms. And they're back home, no big deal. All right. That's pretty much it, guys. So again, the benefits: no general anesthesia, no fasting. The parents are in the room. Uh, uh, you're going back to activity pretty quickly, and more importantly, there's a faster access to care. There's not these long waits, and the cost. It's much cheaper being in the office than in the operating room. So for all those reasons, that's why I support TULA. If my child needed ear tubes, I would do it without hesitation here. And I would do it too on them. All right, guys, any questions?
I have one. I don't know if you mentioned it. Do they fall out on their own? And if so, what's the time frame?
That's a good question. So a traditional tube stays in about 6 to 9 months. Some can stay in longer. About 10% get retained, which we'll take out a later time. But 6 to 9 months, it falls on its own. Okay. That's a good question.
Also a question, what's the age criteria?
Comfort. So honestly, it depends on your patient. So I've done, as young as like 10 months up to about age 7. It's all just personality type. So, I think you kind of feel it out. Some kids, we may need to papoose them. Some kids are perfectly fine. Some kids need the iPad. Some kids are fine. So, we have just different protocols we'll put in place for each kid, but there really isn't, I probably wouldn't put in a kid younger than 10 months just from the size of the ear canal and getting into trouble doing that.
What about swimming at the beach or the pool?
So post-operative, there is a little bit of variability. For personally, what I like to do, I like to avoid any water exposure for the first 3 months. So you have to think of it, putting this tube in to ventilate, to aerate the space, to reduce inflammation. It's like getting your ACL repaired. The last thing you want to do is be running on it. You want to rest it. It's got to heal. And then once it's healed, you're ready to run. So 3 months is a good conservative time where we're not letting that water get in the ear, get through the tube into the middle ear space, burn it, irritate it. So typically that's what I recommend. But you have some providers that say you can swim right away. I just think if you're taking your child for a procedure, why risk it? Rest, let them heal, and then get back at it. How about anyone from live? Any questions on live? No? Okay. Okay. All right, guys, that's it. Let's eat. Thanks. All right. Did you?